Hey, hi, hello, how are you? My name is Princess, but you can call me P. And yes, welcome in. Today I felt cold and inclined to just yap with you guys. And yeah, we're currently snowed in, so I'm like, what else should I do to keep me busy? And I fell on my spirit to make this video and just talk about God, talk about life, and the sort. It's currently January 60th. We still are in the month of January, but I'm coming to realize that everything is really for a reason. So I just wanted to take this time to chat with you guys about life so far. And yeah, if you feel like this message is for you, if you feel like you're seeing this for a reason, please stay. And if you don't, still stay, you never know. But yeah, it is actually January 31st. We have went through the first month of this new year. Everyone's so uh prominent and mad about how long January is going, but I think it's very necessary, as well as the snow. I know it's not snowing everywhere, but in certain areas, I am currently in North Carolina, so over here it's very odd, but it's just been a lot of snow and a lot of times indoors and a lot of time in solitude. And I'm not gonna lie, at first I was like, I don't really like this. At first I was like, okay, here were the different stages. At first I was like, okay, great, because you know what, maybe I need a little more time to get myself together. And then I started getting a little mad because I'm like, yo, I was really motivated and I felt really pumped up, and now like the pumping is massively decreasing, and I was getting irritated because I'm like, yo, there I don't really have no energy. Like I don't feel like doing anything, and the depression is low key starting to come in at full force because you're spending so much time inside. And me, like, I like being inside, but when I decided, like when I'm inside against my own will, and outside is iced up and snowed down, and you don't feel like you want to go anywhere, that's when it starts to feel like crippling depression, and your mind starts to take over in your thoughts and you just feel stuck. And I don't like that feeling. So I'm not the only one that started to feel like that, but I'm starting to see the reasoning. So as I have been sitting inside, I started to take this time of solitude to give it grace and appreciation, because I think it's a moment of God just giving us a moment to really, like, or for me personally, how I'm taking it, I think it's a moment of God really giving us a moment to just sit within ourselves. And I know sometimes that can be uncomfortable for people, especially people who aren't comfortable in their own skin. And that's honestly a very, very big thing, a very big thing that we need to keep note of, because a lot of people are uncomfortable within their own skin. That's why when it comes to moments where they need to be alone, it starts feeling like your eyes start twitching, you start talking to the voices, you start losing it, because you don't want to be by yourself because you're not comfortable with that. And I think this is really just one of those moments where God is giving us to really just sit down. Like he's saying, you don't want to, he said, my child, stop. Stop. No, but actually, like, I like to joke around, but like, really, he said, my child, stop, get down. Like, you don't want to listen. You don't want to listen to me while I'm speaking to you. Now I have to intercede. And that gives me to the point of what this year is. Last year was the year of the truth. And I believe that. There's a lot of truth that came out, a lot of people showing their true colors, a lot of relationships dying, a lot of relationships opening. I would say last year was the year of love, because a lot of people started talking to each other and stuff like that, and connections started forming. And it was like almost everybody was like forming connections and in relationships or on their way to relationships. And it just seemed like, oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying? I can even attest to that. And then this year, boom. But I think this year I went to Bible study, and we were talking, and the pastor was saying that this year is a year of divine intercession. Let me go fact check that, but hold on. Okay, I got it. We're in Bible study, or we're in conversation. It wasn't necessarily Bible. I mean, whatever you want to call it. Either way, I was there, and he was basically saying that 2026, or this year, is the year of divine intercession. Go through it. So divine meaning of relating to or proceeding directly from God, and intercession meaning the action of intervening on behalf of another. And it was just so important to hear that, because I think, last year God was giving us a little moment to just do us and see how that goes. But I think this year he's being very, very intentional, and he's definitely interceding in the areas where he thinks it's necessary. And of course, in all areas, God is always going to work in mysterious ways, and sometimes it takes us, time after the fact to really assess and sit down and be like, oh, okay, that's why you did that, or oh, okay, like I understand now, and okay, it doesn't hurt egotistically anymore because I understand why you had to do that in the way in which you did that, because if you did another way, I probably wouldn't have listened. But yeah, I would say this year is the year of divine intercession. That just goes to say, within this year, please do not get lost in yourself. Please do not get in your own way. Please do not get in God's way, because I know a lot of times, and I know me, and I know we're all pretty similar in the aspect where we think we know it all as humans. We think we have the upper hand because we're in a situation and stuff like that. But one of my favorite quotes, and this is gonna be like, girl, what are you talking about? But one of my favorite quotes is, it's hard to see the frame when you're in the picture. And listen, hear me out. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. Because this is so, like, it's deeper than you guys. Like, it's hard to see the frame when you're in the picture. And that goes to what life is about, because a lot of times we as the human, we as the people think, all right, we know what's going on, and we know this and we know that, but we're not understanding that we can't see the whole picture. We're not seeing what's going on behind the scenes. We're not seeing what God is seeing. Even in a situation where people are taken out of our lives, or in this situation where he's shedding some things and, shielding you in solitude, don't take everything at face value, and don't try to go out your way to make things go the way you think they're supposed to go. Because a lot of times we think things are needs, and we think things are necessities, and they're merely just wants. A lot of times we think that we know the answer, and we simply don't. I would say this season is the season to trust God truly. And that's also something that I need to work on, because as someone who thinks they know it all, it's hard to put your trust in something else in general. It's hard to trust in general. But this really is a season to just trust God, and just have that faith, and throw the worry out the window. You see the window? Throw the worry out the window. Because when you start worrying, then you start doubting God. That's doubting God. And I think this is really just the season where we can all expand and we can all grow. And I know it's not easy. Trust me, I know it's not easy, because there's definitely moments where you're tested, definitely moments where you're attacked, and it feels like, what's the whole point? When you're doing good, it's like there's moments where it's like, what's the whole point? But I need us all to be strong, and to start using the powers that we have within to help us to stay along the path that God has for us. It's also the concept that we need to be mindful of is, a lot of times when good is coming, bad will also come with it simultaneously, and you'll be sent through that storm. You see how, listen, because we got the storm, right? You see how the storm gotta come, right? Before the good comes, the bad before the good. And a lot of people, they go through the storm and they're like, you know what? I'm leaving. I can't do this. I can't sit through this. I can't deal with this. The whole time it's just a test and it's just a moment, and there's greater on the other end. And I also need us to be mindful that when the blessings are coming, the devil will be sending in his greatest soldiers, and people dressed up in what is it, wolves in sheep's clothing, situations that you prayed and hoped for, and it's dressed up in a bow, and you like, wait, that's what I asked for. And whole time that is not what you asked for. Okay? We as the people that are following God, we as believers also need to strengthen ourselves when it comes to discernment. And I say when I struggle with this too, because when I tell you the devil's greatest ability is manipulation, and just as God knows our heart and our mind, so does the devil. So we need to be mindful when it comes to that. When it comes to things that we're getting and we're thinking that it's one way, be mindful. Don't immediately think that this is it. This is it. You know when God confirms that, but until he does, question it. It's okay to question things sometimes. Question it. Because if you just gullible and laxy daisy, you will get defeated by the enemy every time. So stay prayed up. I'm trying to take this time, take this solitude time, take this moment as we are snowed in, take this moment as we are given time to be with ourselves, to grow closer to God. Take this moment to be in your prayer closet, be in your prayer room, and start building your armor. You know what I love about winter? It's that moment where you can move silently and build and expand and grow, so that when it's time to flourish and the spring comes and it's time to blossom, you blossom beautifully because you took the time to hibernate, you took the time to bask in the solitude, you took the time to work on yourself. And then when it's time to, you could, feel me? So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed. This was just a yap session, and I love to yap, so hopefully I can yap with you guys some more. I definitely have a lot of things to yap about, and I'm also growing as we are growing. So don't ever feel ashamed, and I'm not perfect. So obviously, like I said, your relationship is individual, all right? So take what you hear from others with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? With a grain of salt. And sorry, my nose, it's cold out, my nose start. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope I get to make more. And yes, live, love, laugh, and be merry.